dear lovely YouTubers, how are you all doing today? Hope you're okay. I'm losing my voice, a rough voice. I'm still playing with the tarot cards to see what it is I need to do, what I need to learn. Is there a formula that's best for me as a way to use my cards online? Now I feel a bit strange not using the angel cards because I've used them for so long and I always use them in readings. It's like they centre and balance the reading for me. For me, having an angel card out means knowing the theme of this reading. Okay, that's how that feels to me. So even though I've done all of the angel cards and I've read it out from the book, the meaning of the angel card, so I feel like I don't need to do that anymore, because if you want to have the full complete meaning of this angel card, then go back to one of my other videos that's just got this card on it. I'm going to open a Patrick Gamble Oracle card, and we've only got these, so I'm thinking I'm going to do tarot readings for each of these cards. Okay, this one, illumination. Okay, yeah, a bit of light. Probably need to shed some light on the subject. I need more light to figure out what it is Spirit want me to do with these angel cards. So while I'm trying to figure that out and which is the best way for me to use these cards, I'm just going to do a reading for all of the rest of the Patrick Gamble Oracle cards. That is what I'm going to do. This is a lovely little pink stone that I'm going to use for this reading. Now I do like to also shuffle the cards as I'm going along. Now I'm using a template of other people that are online doing these card readings, and they do the shuffling process separately from the card reading, which I find strange, but maybe that is something that I've got to adapt to and get used to, mainly because of the noise of the shuffling and the time the shuffling takes, I guess, right? Is that what happens? And some people like to watch the shuffling, and you can just watch the shuffling separately then, if you just watch the shuffling without watching the, or you can just watch the reading. Okay, Seven of Swords. Ooh, somebody's crowing. Somebody is being overly vocal here. Okay, what's going to happen in this situation? We don't know what the angel card is, what the angel cards want you to know, or what the question is. There needs to be some light being shed on a situation. There's a situation where someone is plagued by negative thinking and they're being harangued by a person. Oh, and the unfairness. Okay, so there's an unfair situation that needs remedying. Oh dear. There's an unfair situation that needs remedying, and something that's happening that's unjust. Archangel Michael. Well, Archangel Michael is the most powerful card in the angel cards. And Archangel Michael is who you call on when you've got something going on in your world which you can't solve yourself. You ask your angels for help, and you ask your angels for divine guidance. How you do that is you sit and pray. Just send the words up with your mind. Just send the thoughts up and say, Guardian Angels, can you please show me the way? Show me the way and show me the things that I need to do and say in order to remedy this situation. Okay, so there's a sweet heart. There's a romance-loving heart at the centre of this question and this person. This is a person who will be trusting, too trusting and too naive in the area of where are they too trusting. There's no obvious sign of where they're too trusting, and I forgot to do the Cosmic Tarot. So it's not obvious that it's romance, it's not obvious that it's work, it could just be life generally, you know. Or it's a female taking advantage of someone. Okay, so if you're being taken advantage of, you know someone who is being taken advantage of, this is a bit like Amber Heard, isn't it? This is what I was thinking when I was uncovering this, it's like there is no justice. This looks like there's no justice in this situation. Justice for who? Justice for either of them. Because now Amber has got the world against her, regardless of what was true in that situation or what wasn't true. What were the motives behind what she did? There's going to be illumination. It's all going to come to light. It's going to be clear. We're okay. People who are worried about whether or not the truth is going to be known, don't worry, the truth always is known. The truth always comes out, okay? And when with a person who is very, very deceitful, the problem is they are very good at it, and they usually don't tell other people that they are being deceitful, because they know that loose lips sink ships. They know that by telling other people what their plans are, or how deceitful they're being, or how untrustworthy, they don't know if they can trust that other person, because they are so they don't trust other people because they are so untrustworthy. You've got a person who's very untrustworthy and disloyal, and they just make up their own version of events to suit themselves, right? And then you've got this other person who's suffering quietly in the background, but equally, see them carrying a knife. They're not innocent. They're not an innocent victim, right? But the light that's shining on this one is the moonlight. It's the light of psychological damage and disorder. It's like Johnny Depp, isn't it? He has got all of his own things to carry. He's got all of his own baggage. He's carrying his own baggage of these negative feelings he's got about himself that a typical addict has, and that yet he's attracted to himself a person who is verbally haranguing him. And the answer is to pray for Archangel Michael to be able to send illumination so that the scales of justice can be turned the right way up. Okay, that's what needs to happen in this situation. Illumination. Darkness, confusion, change of identity, rebuild. Well, this is what Johnny Depp's going to be having to do, and I'm guessing it's what Amber Heard's going to be doing as well. They're both going to be rebuilding a new identity. This would speak of a time in the past when all of what life represented and stood for fell apart and crumbled. Yep, Johnny Depp's life did that, didn't it? Leaving one in a place of complete darkness and confusion. Not only have the physical and material world been smashed into 1,000 pieces, but also one's own core energy. You've been thrown into a vortex of complete destruction. Life resembles the remains of a shipwreck that have been washed up on some alien shore, and you are left to salvage what you can in order to survive. After many moons there comes a new sun, and the rays shine a new light of hope and direction, illuminating your world and so enabling you to see. I once caught a glimpse of a man's face in the reflecting water of emotion that I did not recognise. So I turned around expecting to see someone behind me, but I was the only one there, and that face was my own. Oh, it's very deep, isn't it? It's time for Johnny Depp to have a look at who he is and who he's being. Really. Princess of Swords, let's have a look. This is not a good sign. It really isn't a good sign. It actually looks a bit like Amber Heard, doesn't it? Princess of Swords. A charming young woman with a sword that emerges from a flower. Meaning serious, severe, tricky, frivolous, vulnerable, aggressive, also skillful, observing and powerful. Let's have a look. Princess of Swords, determined to right a wrong and determined to right a perceived injustice. So she could well believe the things that she's saying. And the scales of justice being upside down is just horrendous, isn't it? The last card we want to see in this situation upside down is justice, because everyone wants to see justice one way or the other. We like to think that our little human way of coming up with justice and the truth is good enough for us, right? Because we think if it can happen to them, it can happen to us. And we like to think that if we were ever in a situation where someone was lying about us, because someone is lying here, they can't both be telling the truth because the truth is so at odds with each other. We like to think that there's a court of law that will uncover and unpick the truth. But as we've all seen, it's not that simple, is it? And then add to that the idea that the court like to complicate and make the situation so much more complicated than it needs to be. You know, they've come up with all these rules and laws, and you've only got to look at the form that the jury have got to fill in, and they've got to agree with everything for it to meet the standard, right? And nothing is that clear cut, is it? And this is what we are now faced with, the reality that if ever we were in that situation, you can't just guarantee that a jury of your peers is going to be able to see through any lying, because it's not that easy to see, particularly if you're dealing with accomplished liar, somebody who's really spent years and years doing it. Justice, the law. Upside down it says injustice, unfair, delinquency. Yeah, well, they're both fairly delinquent, aren't they, in their own ways. Situations, people or events in your life may feel unfair, and you are seeking to blame anyone who could be held accountable. See, is this what Amber is doing? She's looking at Johnny and she's wanting him to take the blame for anything and everything. And it just seemed like the little areas that she's focusing on to blame him for, there doesn't seem to be a lot of emotional talk. It's what I've observed. This is a person who appears to be vulnerable, appears to be giving a portrayal of a person who's got feelings, but the reality is the feelings just aren't there. She's not feeling the same way as if she had really been put through that situation. So I feel there's an element of just being cantankerous and attacking for the sake of it, but she might really believe what she's saying. Injustice is playing her hand, and instead of looking for a scapegoat, take responsibility for the role that you are playing. Karma is a bitch, and your past actions are now catching up with you. Take inventory of your life with complete honesty and see what can be reconstructed with the utmost integrity. The situation at hand is very black and white, right or wrong, with no shades of grey or room for opinions. Yeah, and that is what I feel is strange about this whole scenario and this whole question of this court case. That's why it doesn't feel real to me, because real life has got lots of other grey areas in it, you know, real everyday life. And I don't know whether it's just that legal justice system in America or the parts they're arguing about. Maybe her lawyers have just restricted her. Just talk about this big thing. Just talk about this big thing. Just talk about this. And so there hasn't been any room to allow time for listening to the nuances of what's happened here. I think that if instead of having a doctor dishing out medication and a nurse checking whether or not they physically hurt each other, they could have used a therapist, they could have used counselling, and they could have been heard, and they could have been listened to, and they could have spoken to each other, but it wasn't there. The listening and the care wasn't there. And then this has come about, this wanting to hurt other people has come about from that, from the pain of not being heard. Weigh all perspectives objectively and ask yourself, what is the root cause? Be honest with yourself. If you feel like you have truly done your best to right this situation, then take the lesson and file it under lessons learned. And this is what Amber hasn't done, has she? She has not gone quietly. And that's what, if she is the victim, that's what abusers like people to do. They like you to go quietly and not make a fuss and not kick up about it and just take your lot and go, right? But Amber hasn't done that. Now, if she was truly a victim, then she's done really well to stand up for herself. If she wasn't the victim, then what she's done is just vindictive and spiteful. Let's have a little look at Johnny, shall we? A little look at the Seven of Swords. There's little Johnny over there wearing a hoodie, not pretending that he is innocent. And this is the thing, he's been on the planet a lot longer. He's had a lot more time to make mistakes. He's got 30 years of relationships and people behind him. Not one of them will come out and say he's done anything other than drink too much and use drugs. That's the worst thing that they can say about him, right? Which for someone like Amber, that could be the worst type of person that she could have ever hooked up with. And then you have to ask yourself, what was at play for her that she would hook up with someone who wasn't available, wasn't emotionally available to her? Because someone who's using drink and drugs like that is generally not available, emotionally available 90% of the time, or 80% of the time, or possibly 100% of the time, depending on how many drugs they're using and what they're drinking. And, you know, if they're in a state of either running towards getting high or getting over being high, or maybe being in a state of permanently not there. You know, this person hiding in his hoodie's not there, but equally he's got his own life. He's more than capable of... What is he capable of? And this is the question, isn't it? What is Johnny Depp capable of? This card means deception or betrayal, taking only what's needed, the universe bearing witness to true intentions, getting away with something, being strategic, being grateful for the resources you have, moving silently and quickly. Traditionally, this card warns us that we must be on the lookout for deception, thievery and betrayal. And while we can sometimes find ourselves the victim of someone else's deceit, it's also a nudge to act in alignment with our own highest morality. Be sure you are being honest with yourself about the nature of your reality right now. Sometimes we pretend that everything's okay, or that we're doing the best we can even when we're not. And sometimes this shows up as recklessness or avoidance of responsibilities. Yeah, the running away from the situation. Right now, I'm not saying that Johnny Depp should not have run away, when Amber Heard was abusing him, being verbally abusive and fighting him. But at that stage, by the time it got to that, it was too late, wasn't it? By the time you're with somebody who's so rolled up and so angry about things that you have done or what they've perceived that you haven't done, it's too late to be able to heal that from that situation. And running away from it is the only answer. When that's your only option, is to just get the hell out of there, what else are you going to do? That's what you do. It's the right thing to do. Now, the best thing to do after that, once you've learnt about the running away business, is to make sure you get involved with someone that you don't need to run away from. And for this person has to get involved with someone who's not going to want to be running away. This person needed someone who was emotionally stable to be able to point out, hold on, are you aware you're doing this? Instead of reacting and creating a toxic environment. So this person needed to be with an emotional stable person, and this person needed to be with someone who had deep empathy and understanding of someone who's got deep feelings that they were unable to express for whatever reason. Right, so this person, this is Johnny, this has got deep rooted issues that needed help or need help still. So he needs help from counselling, therapists, friends, support. He doesn't need to enter into another relationship from someone who's going to ask something from him that he hasn't got to give. Right? And this person obviously needs the same sort of introspection and therapy, but that's like saying a narcissist needs to take a look at themselves. Right? Some people can take a look at themselves and some people don't want to. Neither of these people want to look at the truth. One of them's running away from it and one of them's blaming the other one for it. So they are both at fault here. Neither of these two people have been completely honest with their underlying reasons of what they've done. This one, because they've clouded their own judgment with drugs and drink, possibly as a way to escape from this toxic, demanding relationship that they can't cope with. This is the demands of the crow that they can't handle. And this person has got like a falcon or a bird of prey. It's just going to eat that crow up. This person's completely out of their depth with the level of demands that this person was going to make on them. It was a complete mismatch. It was only on the external that it looked like a match, okay? And there is going to be justice. There's going to be justice. This one, take only what's needed and give nothing back. No, sorry, I'm joking. It's a Pirates of the Caribbean reference. Take only what's needed and remember that no excuse outweighs your ability to act from a place of love and integrity. You cannot deceive your own heart, and the universe will always bear witness to your truest intentions. Jack Sparrow has a compass that only takes him where his heart allows him to go, and that is Johnny Depp at the moment, isn't it? For you, alone and vulnerable under the light of the full moon. Yeah, he's in the spotlight, all right. The only thing that matters is the truth. Move forward with the lightness of conscience to guide you. Yeah, so Johnny has only got the truth on his side, and this person needs a psychiatrist to help her through her issues that she's got. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.